Hello, my name is John Tellers, and today I'd like to start out with a quote by Jim Siegel, the CEO for Costco. Paying your employees well is not only the right thing to do, but it makes for a good business. I chose this quote because I will be speaking about minimum wage and how it should be raised in order to make the economy better and the citizens more prepared to care for not only their families but their everyday responsibilities. There are only 5 states in the United States that have not adopted a minimum wage. 29 states and the District of Columbia have set their minimum wage above the federal level, which is $7.25. With that being said, since states are noticing they should raise the minimum wage for the better of the states and its citizens, why has nothing been changed on the federal level? Everyone is familiar with the effects and acts that have been made to raise the federal minimum wage for years. This started because the federal minimum wage, that is $7.25 per hour, is far below the historical peak that was reached in 1968. The minimum wage was noted to keep up with the cost of living. As cost of living increases every year, it would only make sense to increase the minimum wage. A large percent of American families live specifically off their minimum wages paychecks. Since it is not being raised with the cost of living, this causes families to struggle more, not only financially, but mentally as well. Because the parents having to work longer hours, sometimes two jobs, if the minimum wage would keep pace with the price increase since 1968 by 2014, the minimum wage would have been about $9.54 an hour. This is 32% higher than the actual level of the $7.25. At this rate, families may have been able to support themselves with only a single job as opposed to having multiple jobs and no time for their families. Though raising minimum wage is not a cure for poverty, it will certainly help those families in need. One of the acts I would like to bring to your attention is a Raise the Wage Act, which was proposed by Senator Patty Murray and Representative Robert C. Scott, and will take overdue steps to address the national crisis of wage and income inequality. The goal of the Raise the Wage Act is to raise the minimum wage to $12 an hour by the year 2020 and start in the year 2021. The minimum wage would keep pace with the raising wages overall, meaning it would be adjusted to maintain a constant minimum wage to maintain wage ratio. You would be wondering, who will the Raise the Wage Act benefit? To put this in perspective, it will help 35 million workers, 30% of wage earned women, 35% of African Americans, 38% of Hispanic workers, and 55.5 million working men. 89% of workers who are 20 and older, 27.7% of those who have children, 27.5 million children will be affected because of their parents. With that being said, it affects everyone, even you. In order to have the minimum wage to $12 an hour, there would have to be an increase yearly to slowly come to that point. With the information from the article by Mitchell Hirsch, 75% of Americans support raising the minimum wage to $12 an hour. There are several groups who are pushing for minimum wage to increase to 2050 by the year 2020. Among these are the National Employment Law Project, the Economic Policy Institution, the Leadership Conference of Civil and Human Rights, and the National Women's Law Center. There are many more groups in the United States that strongly support the raise of the minimum wage. Again, the question would be, why is nothing being done? Raising the minimum wage would not only help people, but it would help the economy as a whole. There are several reasons why $12 is a great goal for 2020. Among these are an increase to $12 would mean billions of dollars would go into the United States economy, which would benefit businesses. Also, this increase would restore the federal minimum wage historical value, meaning the $12 minimum wage by 2020 would equal a 10% increase from the federal minimum wage as it peaks value in 1968. Based on the Bureau of Labor statistics, most commonly used to measure of inflation and Congressional Budget Office inflation projections. Another reason would be that $12 an hour by 2020 would economically sustainable. There are general worries about the increase in minimum wage on local businesses because they will not be able to pay their employees, but this is not the case. More often than not, when employees are paid more, they spend more. Those people and that money will still be going back in the economy because this extra money they're making will change to profit for another organization and business. Not only will raising the minimum wage make people happier and better prepared to take on their everyday activities, but it will hopefully allow people to have more time with their families and be able to take care of their families and their responsibilities. I strongly believe that the minimum wage should be raised. What do you believe?